What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast. And you're going to want to stay tuned to find out what I'm going to show you because I do believe that everything's converging, right? And all these uh, talking points that we've been discussing in the past will all converge at one point, whether it be the finance industry, the health industry, the food shortages, supply chain, all of it. It's all culminating to this one point because we have to change from the old guard to the new guard. And you're building new financial rails. Here, Gator Trader posted FBI and CSIA are warning of a cyber attack over Thanksgiving weekend. Whether that happened in certain areas, I don't know. But cyber attacks are becoming more and more prevalent. Now, there's lots of accounts that are hacked. There are a lot of scams that are going on, which you have to be careful for. But here is something that I found very interesting that you guys should watch, which is a video from the World Economic Forum. Okay. So they're telling you right to your face the things that are happening that will happen. And if you haven't heard of the ICE 9 theory, by Jim Rickards, you should definitely check it out. In which he hypothesizes that there's going to be a freezing of the global financial system. Okay, and I'll leave you with that thought. Now, moving on, we see that next year, in November of 2022, is when a lot of financial institutions will have to deal with a lot of change because uh, now everything will be clubbed together. Target 2, T2S, Bank of England, RTGS, CHAPS. I think that's the um, international way of sending money, I believe. The SWIFT MX global rollout, that's all happening around the same time. So this is pretty serious. And I think that November of 2022 will be an interesting time, especially, you know, 12 months from now, a lot can change. And you've seen that the last almost 2 years have been insane. Now, you see that also, in order to be a participant, you're going to have all three doses. That's what it's looking like here. And it's ever changing. And if you notice at the narrative now, especially with this new variant that's coming out, they're saying that, the quote unquote scientists are recommending or are saying that all three doses will be effective in the fight against this variant. So you see the narrative being pushed out. And eventually, if you're not fully medicated, you know what I mean, you will not be able to partake in society. And that's the fact, Jack. You're seeing how freedoms are slowly being taken away. Here, there's an article about the Biden crackdown on thought crimes. Here it says the administration is seeking to radically narrow the boundaries of respectable American political thought. The administration has repeatedly issued statements and reports that could automatically castigate citizens who distrust the government. We may eventually learn that the guidelines spurred a vast increase in federal surveillance and other abuses against Americans who were guilty of nothing more than vigorous skepticism. So, you're not allowed to think. Whatever your opinion is, just shut it. And they're comparing him to the Nixon administration, okay? And here it says that the White House claims its new war on extremism and, people who cause fear is carefully tailored to address violence and reduce the factors that infringe on the free expression of ideas. And you're seeing that with the censorship that's taking place, right? People are no longer free to think, to express their thoughts. You have the illusion that you have freedoms. But they're boiling the frog slowly, folks. We gotta wake up and smell the roses and realize that they're being curtailed one at a time. It says the administration is revving up for a war against an enemy which the feds have chosen to never explicitly define. It says that according to a March report of the Director of National Intelligence, the domestic violent extremists include individuals who take overt steps to violently resist or facilitate the overthrow of the U.S. government in support of their belief that the U.S. government is purposely exceeding its constitutional authority. One day, if you believe contrary to what the government says, you will be an enemy of the state. You'll be a domestic extremist. That's what it's going to be. And if you haven't noticed, the January 6th incident that took place is being pushed very aggressively to help, protect against domestic extremists. So it's basically an attack on its own people, Americans. And you could easily be shut down, discredited, if you're called a conspiracy theorist. And it will automatically just shut your voice out, even if you have something of truth. So, folks, this is basically an attack on your freedoms. And don't undermine the things that are happening now. Don't get comfortable. Because when your account freezes and you don't have access to any money, you can't participate in the economy because you're considered a domestic extremist, enemy of the state, your own country. That's when people will realize what's going on, and it'll be too late. It'll be too late. So that's why we're here, to prepare each other, to keep each other motivated, to support each other in these troublous times. And we got to stay aware and do the best that we can to stay prepared and prepare others. This is the first time being on this channel. Consider liking and subscribing. Let me know if you're already a subscriber of this channel. Thank you. And let me know your guys' thoughts. What are you guys thinking about the current situation at hand? As always, I appreciate your input. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.